Why is he a lying liar who lies, chat?
Because I lie, and lie again.
88 Riddles, what's going on? Good to see you. Hello, I have what's left of my guacamole. And all the lights are wrong. Like, wait a minute. We are professional. High functioning professionals. Arctic still pretending to be sick. You have to talk to him when he's back. He's actually here. He just was not prepared for me coming in and starting the stream early. Professional jokers. That fits. That fits. I'm in this picture and I don't like it.
Hello.
Yeah, he's here.
I'm here.
Ugh. Ugh. Why?
Why what?
I knew that was going to happen. There was a big old leaf of cilantro in that bite.
Are you a cilantro is soap kind of guy?
Cilantro tastes like soap.
Do you?
I like a little of it.
Do you
because
like
I got fed soap a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah, I was about to say, you like a little bit of soap?
So I can handle a little before I start crying because the memories get too strong. But before that happens, I'm okay. But like when they do street tacos with like as much cilantro as they have
and
meat,
they just like dump cilantro in it?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, no thanks. All right, chat.
Hey, Lion.
Woo!
What's going on?
Welcome to the stream, Lion. Chad Michael Taylor, hello.
You thinking he'd need the extra 5 minutes for his Slann? I mean, does he though? Look at everything he did yesterday, cheater.
I didn't cheat at all.
Cheater.
I just painted fast.
Cheater.
I'm gonna get some more of it done today. Buy some more of it.
I had a taco salad for lunch, and I forgot I had chips and guac. So
chips and guac.
Rather than let the guac turn brown during the stream, I'm gonna eat my chips and guac first.
That sounds good. Chips and guac, my favorite thing. I like guacamole more than I like salsa.
That's a hard one, right? Because salsa, queso, and guac are like the holy trinity of dipping.
They're very close. They're very close. I will say they're very close to one another.
I feel like if you're gonna dip chips into things, tortilla chips. We gotta make a clarification, right?
Yes, they have to be tortilla chips.
Tortilla chips. If you're gonna dip tortilla chips into things, queso is the top priority. Ooh. And then it depends on the salsa. Because there's not a lot you're going to do to guacamole to make it go up or down in my eyes. It's already a great thing. But salsa has a range that it can slide. Like if it's chunky, picante kind of stuff, it slides down and then guacamole takes second place. Okay?
For salsa?
For salsa. Okay. If it's like the really chunky stuff. I don't like really chunky salsa. I like pureed, habanero salsa, right?
Yes.
But if you have a good pureed habanero that has the right amount of bite and the right amount of flavor, then it beats guacamole. And guacamole becomes third in the triumvirate of grandeur.
I don't know if I could ever put it through. The thing is,
salsa and guac are always fighting, man.
I'm picky about my queso.
They're always fighting.
Part of the problem.
They're always fighting for second place. That's the way it works. New York City. Get a rope. What are your thoughts on mango or pineapple salsa? I'm not a big I've had some like mango habanero. I don't like the fruitiness of it. I think that tomato is fruity enough, right? I feel like I'm more of a just let the pepper rain.
Meanwhile, me, I prefer
the mango.
Yeah,
I like the fruity
mango.
salsas.
I don't like pineapple.
There are some really good ones. Pineapple, I would have to really dig deep and figure out if I even know what they're talking about. I don't know if I've ever had a pineapple salsa. I'm gonna go get a Gatorade.
Okay. Yeah, Chad. I really like super flavorful guacamole. So I like it with a lot of stuff in it. Excuse me. I like it with a lot of stuff in it. I like it with a lot of seasoning. My buddy makes a killer guacamole that just can't say no to. That was fast.
I mean, it was right in the refrigerator.
The one out here?
On this side, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Then got me some Gatorade, a 4-pack, as it were. You prefer guac over queso? That's fair. I like all of them, right? I like all of them. Now, if you don't like tortilla chips and that triumvirate, and
then
you like potato chips, now we're talking a totally different deal. And now we're talking about things like sour cream and onions dip, right?
Oh, okay. That's a different conversation.
Because that reigns supreme.
That's like even a different. You have to rank those on a separate scale.
No, I'm saying you move over to potato chips.
Yeah.
This is the potato chip scale of dipping.
Yeah.
And the potato chip scale of dipping starts at the penultimate with sour cream and onion.
Yes.
Period. I don't even know. Is there another dip for potato chips?
There's a variant on sour cream and onion, and I forget what it is. But it's kind of better than it.
It's kind of like sideways from sour cream and onion.
Yes. Like a non-traditional.
French onion is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
French onion dip, right? With wavy lays. Yes. That's all there is. Is there anything else? I don't even know. Dill sour cream? How sour creamy is it? Because sour cream is the base for all of these, but whatever goes in it has to overpower the sour cream or I'm out. I'm not a sour cream fan. But French onion dip is amazing. Because the stuff that's in it makes you forget it's sour cream. Right? Dill sour cream. I'm assuming pickle dill. So, but I'm like, if you're eating potato chips, I don't even know that there's another dip that qualifies. Somebody's going to come up with one. But
I like queso.
With potato chips?
Yeah, some people like it.
Dude, you're slacking. You're like, that's like college levels of, we're out of the real stuff. Eat what you have.
Well, it's like, it's not just like queso. It's like a queso meat dip that you would see at like a football game.
Chile con queso.
Yeah.
Con carne. Queso con carne.
Yeah, queso con carne.
All right, maybe. But not with potato chips, dude. That's why they make tortilla chips. That's why your god or gods at one point in time in history reached down and said, let there be tortillas. Because somebody invented queso and was trying to eat it with potato chips. And the powers that be had to step in and be like, I'm sorry, son. That's not how that's done. They make cheese dips for potato chips?
Yeah.
Like a cheddar cheese dip or something? Like a fondue kind of thing?
Yeah.
I can see that.
Well, huzzah, huzzah.
It's not like queso,
back my legs
right?
And pollute my britches
when we're talking about
with
queso, it has a particular flavor profile that you expect with it.
Yeah. Spicy. I'm talking about spicy queso.
Right.
Chili con queso. So, what do you eat with pretzels?
Cheese dip is not
What do you
spicy.
eat with pretzels is like that beer queso.
Yeah, like beer dip.
Cheesy beer dip.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like mustards.
Yeah.
Right? Like the mustards with the large amounts of like seeds in them.
Correct.
The brown mustards and stuff, the sweet mustards.
There's also 7-layer
honey
dip.
mustards.
Right? There's that 7-layer dip that people like.
Again, tortilla chips, right? I mean, I was raised in the South, so every time you talk about 7-layer dip, it's always got like a Mexican spiciness to
right.
it.
Where I'm from, Washington.
They don't know what
Dumb.
spice is.
They do.
They just ban it.
They're just not very good at it.
They just write laws to make sure it doesn't enter the state. Excuse me, do you have any Grey Poupon? Exactly. Where's she pinky fingers out around here, man? I don't even know what you're talking about. Monument Hobbies is the quintessential pinkies out she.
No. No, it is in fact not that.
No? We're not?
No.
When I walk around during lunch, everybody's got their pinkies out, sipping zucchini water. Our water bottle is just zucchini water.
Wad Tomato, subscribed for 18 months. Holy potatoes.
Impossible.
Or, I'm sorry, holy tomatoes.
Wait, I see what you did there.
Avian, how's it going? Yes, I am indeed back. I am a little worse for wear. But we're making do. I am doing my best.
Wad, thank you very much. Wad was hanging out with me over on Miniac stream.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
When were you hanging out on Mini Extra?
For the last hour and a half.
Oh, what's he working on?
He's doing a miniature from the Chimera
Kickstarter?
Kickstarter.
Cool.
One of the female vampire ones.
Is it the one that Alex
It's the same
did?
one that Alex did, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Excited. Alex is going to be doing a couple of
Acryl things.
Acryl things with us. Is very exciting.
Alex
He's
has
a great
found
guy.
a new love in our paint, which is great.
He's a great guy. I genuinely enjoy talking to that guy.
Alex Dos Santos, I believe is his name. His full name. If you don't know, Alex is a great painter from
Alex
Canada.
does minis. He's one of our new monumentals. Fantastic painter. Still relatively new.
Which is insane because he's like a highly sought after like box art painter.
Yeah.
Just a really good artist.
You know, it's funny how quickly some of those box art painters kind of come out of nowhere and start doing stuff.
Oh heck yeah!
Because I mean, Eric Swinson. He and I met and started hanging out a lot the first time I went to a demo. That was well before he was to the point where.
Yeah.
Because he was still working his day job.
Yep.
And I would say within 2 or 3 years, he's to the level he's at now.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Crazy.
Definitely.
So kudos to him.
Jason was throwing money around Scott's stream. I may have taken over the gifted sub leaderboard on Scott's stream.
Oh my gosh.
I do it all for the chat.
True.
I do it all for chat. Chat was looking lonely, looking like they need. He was doing some giveaways. And so I made sure that the giveaway ticker got hit a couple times.
Good.
And I'm not ashamed of it. I don't care.
Nothing to be ashamed about.
I like helping out my friends. Scott's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
It's only been in the past year or so that I have really gotten to know more about Scott, and what a great guy.
Yeah, I've met him a few times now, and worked with him once or twice.
Scott's one of those
he's a good
guys that
dude.
kind of came out of nowhere on YouTube, right? He kind of came out of nowhere. He had a really neat formula for his videos that was more like what I would call the at-large YouTube formula, rather than the YouTube mini painting formula. You know, he was doing fun stuff, and he had a really fun and exaggerated kind of personality. It was really refreshing for mini painting, and I think that worked really well.
Yeah.
And he just kind of skyrocketed.
He's got a really chill personality, which
Yeah. Oh,
which
yeah.
I like.
Yeah, definitely. He was trying to win those giveaways. Dude, I'm just trying to get into people's stream and win miniatures. Because God knows I don't have enough miniatures.
Ooh, we got a first month sub from a Big Duke 6. Hello, my friend. How you doing?
Big Duke 6, what's going on? Thank you for the prime.
Enjoying your freedom, I hope.
Twitch not playing your sound alert. Nick, what did you do? What did you do? Nick, for 57 months.
57 months.
Thank you,
Oh
Nick
my
Pie.
goodness.
Is it not playing because... Why is it not playing? Maybe it's not playing because our computer got an update. Let me see here. Let's go open sound set. I bet it set it to where it turned my monitor back on as the main... No, it didn't. Look at that. Speakers. Oh, it's right. Strange. I wonder if Streamlabs is not doing the announce stuff. Dower. They don't have audio because we didn't put audio in them. But everybody's saying we need audio, so we'll probably go back and look at it and do it. We'll have Chris add audio back into them. Something we didn't think of that Tim mentioned is he's like, when Baby J's shaking the bottle, you can't even hear the agitator. I'm like, oh. Didn't even think about that. That would have been good.
Man, why can't we be smarter sometimes?
Me?
We.
Oh,
we.
Okay.
Look.
I was like, I hired you to be the smart one.
Look, I'm just saying, if I ever say that, it's
I'm
gonna
the pretty
be
one.
The royal we.
I'm the pretty one. You're supposed to be the smart one. It takes all my effort just to be this good looking.
Sorry, I spent a lot of the last week totally not being sick at all. Just spending all my time making sure I got prettier. Just for stream.
So I need you to stay in your lane. Because I'm the pretty one. And you need to be smart. That's
It explains the haircut. Yeah, Tower. Jordan is very pretty. Prettiest of them all. That's not true.
Prettiest at the mall? What?
I said prettiest of them all.
Oh. They said prettiest at the mall.
I'll take prettiest at the mall.
I mean, that's not hard these days.
No. No, it's not. No.
Jen's got you both beat. Hey, we're not talking about Jen right now. She's not here.
Jen's welcome to come down and hang out, but she's not here right now.
All right, wicked stepmother, slow your roll.
All right, chat.
Costellos, what's going on?
We're doing
Jess,
a little bit of
what's
color
happening? Welcome,
filters.
everybody.
All right, so status update on the Slann. So we're gonna finish it today.
Oh, you don't even have time for a status update. It's like, I started it, it's done. Thanks, Peter.
So yesterday, got most of the base coats down, and a lot of weathering and color and stuff. Got a nice wash down on the whole thing. We're gonna bring it up with some dry brushes. We're gonna hit it with some color filters today, and we're gonna paint all the bits and bobs.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Just finished kind of with the light belly color on this guy. Might end up bringing that out a little bit more as we get into painting it. We have left. Gotta paint him. Don't really have to worry about his backside because his butt is gonna be right up against the inside of this thing. But this model is sick. I don't know about you guys, but I think this model is absolutely fantastic. So kudos to Games Workshop for a cool new model.
It's all right if you're into that sort of.
Whoa, Miniac is rating with a party of 194.
Unpossible.
Unpossible. Hello, welcome Raiders.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him.
Yeah, who's this Miniac guy?
Who's this Miniac guy?
Who's this like pretty boy Miniac guy?
So Scott was painting a model. He's painting one of the Chimera models, I think, from the Kickstarter, right? One, I don't remember what her name is.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Like a female vampire. Welcome everybody. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Raiders. Miniacles. Moist individuals that you are.
Xander Zone, thank you for the prime.
Hello.
Thank you for the follow.
Xander Zone, thank you for the Twitch Prime.
We got follows, we
welcome,
got primes,
welcome.
we got all sorts of stuff going on here. Thank you, Raiders.
Scott, I had a
Welcome.
blast. Always happy to support
somebody
people
likes us.
that do great content. You do great content. I had a blast hanging out in chat, talking with chat, and so there you go. Pay it forward.
Hey, somebody likes us.
I did it all for chat so they could get cool stuff. Great stream, great fun. I mean, I don't know how you could not know Miniac, but if you don't know Miniac, Scott runs a great show over there. Make sure to click on his name, give him a follow. But Scott was painting a female vampire model, and lovely purple skin and all that, but he's doing metallic paints on it. He was talking about how the other ones for the box art all had non-metallic metal, and the model has all this crazy thin trim around armor panels, you know, and that kind of stuff. And it's very GW in that way.
Yeah.
Very, really thin, like gold gilded edges to like otherwise like lacquered armor plates or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And it immediately made me think of this model.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Yes.
It immediately made me think about how stupid I am for wanting to paint the Death Knight in non-metallic metal. So thanks, Scott. You made me cry.
It's looking great though.
Somebody likes us.
You're doing a
Thank you for the follows.
heck of a good job.
MCXL, the real brain, the real heart, the real pulse
Hey, somebody likes us.
of the Miniac show. What's going on, man? Scott runs a great show. Oh, wait. I didn't mean to be offensive. I did not mean to offend, Evan. That's funny, though, by the way. Scott runs a great show over there. Like, whoa. Producer extraordinaire. Everyone in content creation should be so lucky as to have a producer
Hey,
with
somebody
such
likes
skill
us.
and prowess, dare I say. MCXL, bringing it home. Doing it for the children. I'm painting 50 million miles of non-metallic metal. The bronze on the waist is the closest to done that I've done on this. It's intended to be kind of a yellowy bronze. And we're working up all of the rest of the stages on this. This model is by Journeyman Miniatures. Available over in the Monument Hobbies store for those of you in North America. If you're over in Europe or the UK, buy it direct from Journeyman. Mally and Tim, good friends of ours, great guys. Have a bunch of really cool models, and here I am painting one of them.
Yeah, I just finished up the Morgan from the.
Oh, that's right. You got her in here?
I do.
Jordan just did the Morgan, and to show you how foolish we are, he painted her with like 5 colors.
Yes.
He's
yeah.
like, here's this model. Let me just do it with a limited palette
To
challenge.
be fair, this was all my fault.
Ginger Banana God, Zenoku, what's going on? Thank you guys and gals for the follows.
Yeah, this is the Morgan. Fantastic model.
Oh,
There's this version, and
Pichos.
there's a 1/10 scale one,
He did
which
do it
is
to himself.
actually gigantic.
He did do it to himself. Tim, what's going on, man?
Whoop.
Such skill and such a buttery voice, right? He's like the word from on high. He is like the voice of God on the show.
Pardon me. You know who does not have a buttery voice right now?
Jordan's dying, by the way. I need everybody to pour one out on the curb for the painter formerly known as Jordan.
Yeah.
He's been staving off death and the
This is the sickest
trials
I've
of
ever been.
Nurgle for the last week. Oh, wow. Dude, I have good hair today.
Yeah?
Look at that. I need a haircut. That's pretty good, though. Very tall. Can I get it? Oh, it almost... I don't think it's... this is how you know when it's time to cut your hair, is if standing up straight, it goes off the screen without having to tippy-toe it, right? I'm not quite there. I can last a little bit longer. I got a little bit more to go. I don't know if it'll make it a month. We'll see. Get a haircut, hippie. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not quite wrong. Welcome, everybody. If you are not familiar, we are Monument Hobbies. Hello. This is us, the wonderful Jordan, myself, Jason. I'm the pretty one. He's the smart one, so ask him all the questions.
Sure.
And just stare in glory at me.
Yep, staring glory at the beauty from before your eyes.
And we paint things.
We paint things. We also make the great Acryl line of paints.
Yes, we make these. Pro Acryl.
All of these. Hiya! Did we just pull the same color?
Did you
We
grab
definitely-
khaki?
Yeah, we did.
We make one color. We make khaki. I am painting with khaki, so that's fine. So welcome, everybody. If you're new here, this is a wonderful place to hang out, talk hobby, ask about new techniques, things that you might be struggling with in your painting journey. We are here to help. Build that confidence up, get you putting brush to miniature more often, or if not more often, just have you enjoy it more when you do. I believe that every chance we get to paint should be that good mental getaway that we expect it to be.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. This is the most energized I've been all day.
You have been struggling.
Today's been particularly rough. It's like the first day where I've really like cut back on the cold meds that I've been taking.
I'm not doing the drugs.
I ended up taking some, but it's like my voice is a little bit more sturdy than it was yesterday. My sore throat's basically gone for the most part. But my energy levels are just like in the dirt.
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
been
your body trying to get back from being well, and it winds up kicking you nuts, right? Because it's like, oh, you wanted to stay awake for 14 hours? We're not going to do that.
Well, it's one thing if you're like sitting at your desk at home, not moving, or you're like sitting on your couch watching TV or something, and you're just like texting. Another thing when you're like is sitting,
Trying to actually do
desk.
things?
Yeah.
Careful, you're going to talk so much, you're just going to hack up a donkey.
Yeah, let's try not to do that. But we do have a plan. And the plan today, chat, is to finish up this Slann, which is incredibly doable.
Trying to paint a Slann in like under 24 hours.
In less than 4 hours. Or less than 5 hours or so. Because I did, what, let's say 2.5 hours yesterday.
Riddles, your goatee rarely ever fits in full frame. Your goatee's crazy, though. Do you braid that thing? I think you do, right? Has a life of its own. 88 Riddles, one of our monumentals. Does some tremendous... We were talking about you yesterday, Riddles. I don't know if you your ears were burning or not. Somebody was asking about other situations using Acryl paints and such, and so your name came up doing all of the amazing like dice and brush boxes and things like that for tabletop gaming that he does. Some really awesome and unique painting. Click on 88 Riddle's name, give him a follow. Great stuff. Model has a lot of engraving, inlay, craziness going on.
This is going to be a good kind of demo of how I would get a model painted up like this that's like really detailed very quickly.
Pete Critchfield, thank you for the follow. 88 Riddle says, you have no idea how much your paint has changed my approach to how I paint your dice boxes and minis. I hope all for the better, man. Your work is fantastic.
Somebody likes us.
And it's always great when you find a tool that you can use that works even better and helps your process. So I'm glad that Acryl has become that for you. For certain. We say it all the time. I wanted to make the paint that was the last paint you'd ever need. It just kind of says yes. How do you want to paint? It'll paint that way. It will take some getting used to. We did not make the same paint everybody else makes. There was no reason to do that. We made something different. But not so much different that it doesn't feel right with just a little alteration to the way you do your normal painting. See here on stream every day as we do stuff. How easy it is to control.
I have to say, chat, I genuinely missed being here with y'all.
He's lying. He's been walking around the office saying, thank God I didn't have to deal with chat.
Oh. He's lying to you.
He did say he missed you guys. I'm still trying to figure out why.
This is the highlight of my day generally.
I'm still trying to figure out what it is that he sees in you guys and gals, chat. You realize this is the same chat that always says when you want to know what color to paint something, they say pink and plaid. You know it's that chat, right?
You know what? One of these days, we're going to have to do it for him.
They did it to Jen the other day. He was trying to figure out what color to paint, and what did they say? Pink and plaid. MCXL, right? Hot pink or plaid. That's just the way chat picks. It's you can't be trusted. You can't be. You can't be. I'm kind of depressed, Evan, that you're exactly the same. Avian says, I resent that. I say purple. We're friends with the guy who has the best mustache in the world, says Tim. What? What?
Who that?
Miniac says, y'all streaming every day is so impressive. Have we missed a day here recently? I mean, your whole goal is to make us not miss days.
Yeah, I don't think we missed.
I don't think we have.
Well,
We streamed with just him when I was out at a meeting one day, and then I covered for him 4 days last week. But yeah, we have streamed. You know what? You know what is crazy?
and the one day you said we were going to cancel, you actually came back.
I came back and did it an hour late. Yeah, an hour late. I love the stream. I love streaming. The community interaction is what I live for. It's what keeps me gassed for being in the industry doing what we do as a manufacturer. No lie. And we talk about it a lot around here. And that the stream is so important regardless of what we do. If we just sit here and tell fart jokes and hang out, you know, like being at the bar, I don't care. It's great. And we have been doing, the crazy thing when you think about it is that we have been doing this since 2000 and late 2015, right? Mid 2015, I guess, really. And
Hey,
as a
somebody
company
likes us.
since 2016, we used to stream 7 days a week. We stopped doing that. There was a year, it may have been like 9 months where we dropped down to just Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Or maybe it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. We dropped down to 3 days a week for a little bit. But ever since then, we've done 5 days a week. Like for however long that is, 7 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done 5 days a week for 7 freaking years. And for the biggest bulk of that, it was just me and Jen. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I think it's great.
Us.
We used to do a lot more like crazy stuff like 24-hour streams, which I'm not trying to do anymore. It's like, I'm not trying to do that anymore. I do have other stuff I have to do now.
I mean, that's why you have me to do the 24-hour streams for you.
Avian, yeah, you think the conventions... Yeah, conventions impact the stream more than anything else, for sure. Yeah, and that's unfortunate that we can't really get good enough internet to do the stream from the conventions. We've tried in the past. I think 2017 or 18 was the last time we did that. It was from Adepticon. And the internet just kept cutting out so much. I get very frustrated when technology takes a dip. You know, when we're streaming and the stream goes out, you guys and gals that have been here for a long time know that. And you know that I get very, like, I go onto tilt mode real quick when that happens. I'm like, technology should work. I pay for this stuff to work. Why is it not working? Again, thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for coming over for Miniac Stream. I had a blast over there today. Hope you did too. Trying to squeak a little bit of peak highlighting in here on some of this engraving, emboss, deboss. I never know what the right term is. On Senior Death Knight's helmet, we can get a good contrast built up from bright to dark side where we can. As you can see, I'm doing all the armor in a base green and purple for the bronze so that we can get a lot of the kind of hue shift baked in from the beginning. That's the way I tend to paint. I do less filtering at the end than you may be used to. I tend to paint from a base of contrasting hue for whatever the ultimate color I'm working for is. That way when I get to the end, I don't have to do just a whole heck of a lot to bring it all back into coherence, if you will.
I think I'm about done with this yellow-green dry brush highlight. Stuff. Here.
Fastnat news on brush availability. We are hoping, what is today, like the 16th?
Yeah.
We're hoping that we get the production run finished and in the air from Germany by the end of the month. That's what our goal is. I have not had an update from the factory in the last week, so I'll probably have more info by the end of the week. But our goal is to be doing our final QC and labeling, packaging, and all of that stuff by the end of the month so that we can have them on the store as quickly as possible in June. We're like 3 months behind right now. We apologize. Trust us, it's been crazy not having brushes. This is the longest we haven't had brushers ever. It's just absolutely debilitating. Europe is just going through some stuff right now. So it is not good over there, as we all know. We're trying our hardest. We've bulked up here. We're doing brush production here. We have all of this stuff except for our varnishes. We have to use the same varnish that we do in our German factory. So all the lacquer and varnish that we use to paint the handles is still on a boat coming here. You can't air freight it because it's highly flammable. So that will get here into this month. And then we have raw wooden dowels galore. We have like 500,000 raw wooden dowels here. We'll start dipping, and then like when I say label, like printing the brush handle. We have all that equipment here now. So we'll be doing all of that and then building brushes from raw wood and hair here locally. So hopefully that'll even it out. We'll be doubling production basically. We're still going to make in Germany, and then they're teaching us how to make here. So it's a great match made in heaven.
All right, so I added a little bit of khaki to this to bring up one further highlight.
Unacceptable time. Everybody riot. Wait a minute. Settle down, Rowdy. Filigree. Stuffs. Shivengre, is there a video somewhere that tells the story about how you got into MDF and then moved from MDF to paints to paintbrushes? When you say MDF, how do you mean? Like the racks and stuff that we did? The first thing we did was make brushes, believe it or not. So as Slow Fuse Gaming from the stream, I've always been a hater of standard artist round brushes. A lot of people talk about having a big belly and a paintbrush and things like that, and that's great for painting 2D surfaces, but when painting sculptures, I was brought up, I've been painting for over 40 years, and so I was brought up and just kind of ingrained into me that you wanted to have as flat of a side on your brush as possible, right? So all my brushes are crap, because obviously we don't have very many, but rather than that kind of flame shape that you're used to with an artist round, we prefer ours to have a straight from the edge of the ferrule to the point, be very straight. It means that we have less hair in the bundle than a big fat-bellied brush, but it also means that I can use that, anything straight, flat-ish, let's just use like a base, right? Let's use this base. It means that as I'm painting an edge, and when you paint three-dimensional surfaces, a lot of the time you're painting with the side of the brush, not the tip, right? If you find yourself painting with the tip of the brush a lot, you probably need to take a step back and figure out how to start using the side of the tip and the side of the brush more. Number one, your brushes will last an absolute crap ton longer, and you'll have a lot more control over line width and things like that that come along with it. A lot of us do it without really knowing that we're doing it. But so when I'm edge highlighting and things like that, I want a straight, flat edge to my brush so that I can start my line here and pull my line all the way through the amount of paint, because I'm going to have the most paint loading towards the tip of the brush when you're working with heavier acrylics. And so when I start here, I'll have a very light amount of acrylic, and then I'll edge, and as I get to the end, a little bit more pressure, and moving to the tip of the brush thickens my line up so I can work across the edge. You can't do that with the tip of your brush, right? And so, but also having a flame shape means you also would have to rocker your brush because of the geometry there. So I like a flat brush, right? So anyway, that's why we started making brushes. I was able to find a factory in Germany that I could help design the shape of the brush, and they were willing to work with us, and we did. And we came out with brushes first, a line of Sable brushes. And that's what the first product that we launched was. And very soon after that, we did the brush soap. Jen, my partner, she decided we decided we wanted to make a cleaner, because the cleaner we were working with that most everybody knows in the world is garbage. And I'm not afraid to say it. The company's worse. So we were trying to work with them on a product, and they just didn't want to hear it. They didn't think what we did was art. So it was very offensive. And so we're like, well, we'll make our own. So Jen started making our own brush soap by hand, and that's taken off. It's one of the
awesome.
world's most notable brush soaps. And so we still make that by hand. So it was brushes and brush soap is where we started. Then we started making the go bag to transport all of your paints, and the MDF racks came around the same time. The storage solution and the travel bag came around the same time. So that was our big line of products for the longest time. And then in 2018, so for about 2 years, the better part of 2 years, that's what we were doing. And then in 2017, somewhere in there, we started making white paint. And we did it at home by hand. And we're just mixing small batch of, artisanal white. And we couldn't make enough to keep up with sales. Once people got our white, they just started wanting more and more and more. Rumor spread. We took it to Adepticon and sold out in the first day. So we couldn't make enough white. So we said to ourselves, well, we got to figure out a way to make paint in larger amounts. And so in 2018, we partnered up with some other people and changed Slow Fuse Gaming into Monument Hobbies. And then we went out with a little bit more ability because we had more people working on it. And we found a partner to work with us, a partner lab to work with us on taking our formula of paint to a producible state in larger quantities and with finding a way to make all of the other colored pigments work. When you learn more about paint, not all pigments react the same. And so finding a base, if you will, for your paint that is accommodating for all the pigments that you want when you make 100 colors or whatever is tougher than you think. Especially when you're doing it from scratch. We didn't go to the big paint manufacturers out there like a lot of other brands do and just start buying colors that already existed. So it was a little bit more of an upward climb for us. But yeah, so that's how we did it. And then once we hit the paints, then it just took off. That's the history of Monument right there. They cut corners to make artisanal pizza. That's why I did it in quotes, right? Ampersand, thank you. Thank you. Is it Chevanger? Am I supposed to be making that French? Chevanger sounds weird for me to do. So I hope I'm not butchering your name. But yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's a story that we're still blown away that we're here. Like Jen and I and the crew here pinch ourselves all the time. We had AC. What's going on, Aaron? It was only a little over or under 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, right? We're coming up on 3 years of hiring our first employee. Think about that, right? Like here in a month or so will be the third anniversary of having our first employee that was not Jen and myself. So when we first started making the paints and all of that, after the hubbub with our partnership, it was just Jen and I making paint. So we moved all of it into our facility here in Arizona. And there were times where on stream I was filling and bottling paint on stream because I had to. And it was during our stream time. We'd always would be on stream painting like we're doing right now. But we couldn't, because I was like, we got to make paint. And so the stream would be me making paint. And Jen was in the background shipping stuff on our little shipping station. So yeah, it's come a long way. All because of you guys and gals, right? Giving us a shot and liking what we do. I feel like we've got the easy end of the deal. We just make good products, right? As artists and nerds here to a T, it's easy for us to come up with exciting stuff to do. It's really you guys putting your faith in the nonsense we create that makes it worth the while. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It's because of you Jordan gets to eat dinner.
True.
Feel like we need a Sarah McLachlan song playing.
I mean, you have the power.
Chicago Avengers, Shavenger. Okay, good. I got it right the first time then. That's awesome. Yeah, it was in the throes of the pandemic. We had just launched, like I said, and Black Friday of 2018 is when the Pro Acryl paint line launched for the first time. And then it went through some changes as we got all of the brand and company stuff squared away. And then early in 2020, we were busily setting up shop here in Arizona and getting production and all the manufacturing and marketing and sales and everything here, and switched over to the new website. And boy, it was crazy right as everything was shutting down. Trust me, Jen and I sat around and were like, is this even worth trying to do? What's happening in the world? Are we going to be able to do it? And we just stuck to our guns, and you guys really jumped on board. So needs. Yeah, but like I said, if you're new here, never feel bad about asking questions, whether it's monument-specific questions or questions about other products and just painting in general. If it's out there, we probably used it. That stops being the case with newer and newer products, because obviously we use our own stuff all the time. But I have painted in about every method possible in my life. And so, like I said, our whole goal with the stream, what you're taking part in right now, is to help create confidence for you guys and gals to be able to put brush to model. So never feel bad about asking questions about particular things you may be working on.
Yep.
Something you see Jordan or I doing, you're like, how the heck did you just do that? Why are you using those colors? Are you crazy? Ask away. That's what we're here for. Yeah, I know, Arctic, but you're not new here. But you're not new here. Disgrace Sphere, you remember looking for a new paint line when you guys had like 2 paint sets, and on a whim tried, you guys decided that Pro Crow is probably the only paint you needed? Thank you so much. Yeah, Jen even there. Disgrace, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, our first set was 29 colors. We released the entire line with 29 colors, thinking to ourselves, that's not enough. But it's all we could afford to do, number one. And it's all of the colors that we had like proven in the mix that we could use. And so every color beyond that, we had to go and make sure it would work. And it's still the way we do it, But yeah, thank you so much for giving us a shot. That's awesome. And thank you for giving the paints normal names. Wait, just you wait. We're changing them all to Wizard's Butt. Wizard's Butt 1, Wizard's Butt 2, Wizard's Butt 3. That would be the greatest April Fool's joke ever. Is it? It's just Wizard's Butt 1 through 96. Because what color is Wizard's Butt anyway? It's that. Wizard's Butt 5 is that.
All the washes are called Wizard's Diarrhea number 1, 2,
Oh,
3.
why'd you have to go there?
Because it was
Every
fun.
name just starts with moist. Moist Wizard's Butt. Moist Eclectic Salmon.
Sometimes, y'all.
Froggy says, the next thing I would like to learn is wet blending and then a good sized brush to paint 4 pointed stars. Wet blending, I have a really good video on that's very brief on YouTube, ! YouTube in chat. If you go dig through there, there's a really concise video that I put together that was basically just taking the top of a couple of bases and showing you my method for wet into wet and wet on wet painting, which are the 2 types of blending that I tend to break everything into and compartmentalize wet blending into. But it's very quick, and we've gotten a lot of rave reviews about how easy it makes the concept without using it on an actual model. Because a lot of times taking a model like this and showing you how to paint non-metallic metal is going to take you so far, because you're not going to, unless you're painting this exact model, a lot of the nuances on this one and where light is placed is specific to this one, because it has so much going on. So sometimes taking basic principles and geometry and putting it on that allows you to see the technique better, and then you start evolving that technique into the shape that you're applying it to on the model. Models are very specific, but these techniques should be very broad and generic. April Fool's also needs the official monument wet palette for Jason by Jason. Hey, wait a minute. See, we may or may not be working on a wet palette. And if we were to ever come out with one, I feel like people would think it was an April Fool's joke.
I use it a wet palette.
He's using a wet palette right now, right? If we go over to Jordan's palette, that's a wet palette. It's not on screen, but it's a wet palette. So Jordan uses a wet palette. It's just an empty bowl. The wet palette is just like a wet towel to mop your brow with. as you're getting stressed while painting. Mage, what's going on? Electric sheep leg. We just need to rename everything to the stupidest stuff ever. Kambaja says fake news. You're planning easy peasy, lemon squeezy, best name ever, by the way. I'm planning on painting a 40k army in yellow, but you're going to try to follow the instructions that's listed on how to paint Imperial Fist armor. By chance, is there a video representation of the tutorial that's on the website? Probably not. I don't know if that made it over into... Oh, I may have some stream excerpts from that, believe it or not. They have not been published. I can dig. If you haven't already, join our Discord and ping me on Discord so that after the stream I'll see it. We had a person who was an editor in the background on Twitch who was pulling and downloading a lot of the old streams, and I think he got every single one of the Marines we did during that Indomitus Marine. We did a Marine every week. We did the Imperial Fist and all that. Where are those models anyway?
In your bag?
I can grab them. I don't remember where I put them.
They're in your bag.
Oh, hey, they maybe are they? What bag?
Because you brought them to Adepticon.
The Marines?
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, you did.
So they're in this thing.
Could be.
I don't even have to walk away if that's the case.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
I was right?
I think so. I think so. Yeah. Imperial Fist. Look, it lives. Jordan, saving the day.
What I'm here for.
I told you, you're hired to be the smart one. So, this is the Imperial Fist that we did during that Marine a week, right? And this one was brought up doing like mahogany and burnt orange and, you know, some deeper reds in the shadows that with the yellow tend to make real ruddy, you know, almost browns, and things like that. So that's a really, really good way to do oranges, but it's not the only way, or to do yellows, but it's not the only way. You can bring yellow up in a cooler temperature by doing like greens as shadows. For Imperial Fist, specifically doing Marines where it's more battle worn, I like oranges better, reds and oranges and ruddy browns on the yellow because it'll get it a little bit more weathered looking. But greens work really well too. So there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat, so to speak. And but the way that I talk about in the tutorial is going to focus in more on oranges. You know, basically because you get that neat kind of warmth in the shadows that makes it look a little dirtier. And I didn't weather these at all. We didn't do any chipping on them or anything, just to show how color alone can kind of give you the feel. He doesn't look necessarily like parade rest clean, but I do get a good shine on him while also having that orange that makes it feel a little bit dirty. So depending on how you like to paint, if you like to put a lot of weathering on your models, then you don't have to go as deep into the oranges. Daddy J, I don't answer to that. Yeah, Jen nailed it. Maybe tomorrow, but definitely this week for glazed wash medium.
Restock? Is that the restock you're talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Froggy, since you have an idea to blend a night sky on the wings for your parasite of Mortrex. Oh, like on the skin of the wings? That could be really cool. Wet blending and stuff works very well for doing like space scenes where you want that kind of like you know, cloud of debris and colors and stuff like that in the background. Oh, easy peasy. Yes, I am slow fuse. Yeah, there you go. Everybody asked it. Yep, there you go. I'm one of the green named managers of the Discord, so just tag me and I'll and say, hey, you know, pinging you to see if you can find the video, because I may have some excerpts that I could post up on YouTube. It might take me a minute to get them uploaded, but I'll do it for you if not. I won't edit them. I'll just throw it up there raw, so it may be like a whole 3-hour stream that you have to dig through, but it will have good stuff on there. Yeah, exactly. Hobby help is a good one. He's slow, but just mainly slow. Richard, definitely just shoot me an email or ping me on Discord. Green shadows for the yellow on Toad would be cool, right? For sure. Yeah, Jordan's actually working on a series right now that we hope to launch in what, a week or so? Do you think?
Yeah,
Feel
I think
comfortable with?
so. Yeah, it's tough because I'm obviously I'm sick, so recording and recovering right now is making this a little bit more complicated than we thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a week or so.
Yeah, we've got a series that we're working on that is going to deal in exactly what we're talking about here with the conversation on yellow, that is taking base hues and showing you how to build your colors into that base hue to give you a really neat shadow and highlight compatibility and take you in a couple of different directions, rather than just, hey, you know, I'm painting green, so I'm going to go dark green, green, light green. Yeah. We're going to show you a couple of ways with each color. Not every color in our line, but all of the colors that we can imagine you wanting to paint a model red. And we'll show some red. Paint a model blue. Here's some cool ideas for blue. That I think will help get your brain stimulated for, ooh, I hadn't thought about mixing that color in for a shadow. And green on yellow is one. I mean, that's what we're doing here, basically, is using greens as the basis for our bronze, which is a yellow metal, right? But is allowing us to have a really cool looking rather than a really warm looking gold. You know?
Yes, Justice will be a YouTube series.
Right. Same thing here. We've done even with a brighter gold with our Blood Angels. We've done the same thing. Started off from yellow green, right? I didn't use purple on the Blood Angel guys, but I started with yellow green and then worked into yellow ochre and pale yellow out of green, which gives it a more tarnished gold feel than when you start and you go with like oranges and more warmth in your yellows, right? So for gold on models that see combat, that's my preferred way of doing it, rather than, you know, having the gold be super, super warm, just because of tarnish, right? Same thing that I did with Horus. I didn't use green for him though, did I? Or did I? I don't remember. I feel like Horus was a lot of dark golden brown.
Yeah.
And khaki. So I didn't start him from green, but still very similar. Yeah, you can see how on Horus, the gold or bronze or whatever you want to call it still has a cooler look, but I didn't have to use the green. I used dark golden brown and then moved into khaki and finally pale yellow and bright ivory on that. So it gives it a little cleaner look, because the green tends to make it feel a little
cooler,
toxic though. Like the green feels like a different kind of swampy dirt.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're thinking about tarnishing green, it's more of what you would find in a copper, right? Than a gold. Because gold tarnishes black. It doesn't tarnish green. It doesn't verdigris like copper does. But it's still a good color to build your golds up from, because it gives it a really interesting look.
But generally when you mix black and gold or yellow together, you get...
Yeah, it just doesn't... Well, that's true with pigment, but not true with oxidation.
True.
Right?
True.
So the yellows don't really do that. Chivenger, yeah, exactly. Yeah, we paint battle Barbies, right? I like my battle Barbies to look a little beaten. This guy is a little bit different because I feel like Death Knights, everybody's telling me that they're kind of like, royalty, narcissistic, so he might keep his stuff shinier. So I haven't really decided. I've worked up to this level that you see on the waist armor, but I haven't gone brighter for a polish on it. I still think a little bit of tarnish works well, but we'll see. All right. I think I used warm yellow, warm white. I'm cheating, chat. I'm using a color you can't buy yet. One of the colors that's coming in our next signature series set is warm white. So unfortunately, you have to watch me test it right in front of you. I might be the meanest individual on the planet, but you have Jordan to offset my meanness, because Jordan's nice sometimes.
I'm nice.
Jordan's nice sometimes.
I'm nice.
Kabaja says, Baby J, are you going for Starborn or Coalesced for
Starborn.
Starborn.
Yep. Starborn.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Negative CHA, that green looks pretty familiar. Which green? Idiot Real says, warm white. What? We watched you use cat. Trust me, Tim. Chat has had to endure me using all of the colors for long periods of time before actually getting them in their hands. You guys should be used to it by now. I haven't been doing it as much lately, though. I've been good-ish. This warm white is also satin. It has a little bit of a shine to it, folks. Not quite super gloss, but the next signature series set plays around with some satin colors. Just when you thought it was safe, steps outside of the standard Pro Acryl matte finish with some of the colors, which I think is great, especially for some of the bright highlighters like warm white. Being able to give you a nice shine for doing exactly what I'm doing right now, right? Putting it on non-metallic metal, but you'll have a final highlight on there that has a little bit of shine in the light in the room and makes that metallic feel even more believable.
All right. This thing is basically done.
Sir Karai, thank you for the follow.
For the most part.
What? Oh, the seat.
Yeah.
And base. Looks good. I like the swampy green.
Got a couple of bits and bobs on there that need painting, but it'll be soon.
The brighter we go and the more desaturated of a color we go as we get there, with the most desaturated being white. I don't typically advise using white as your highlight color for anything other than maybe white. Painting stormtroopers or something. The more desaturated you go, the more of that surrounding color you will strip from everything else you painted. So I need to be careful as I'm doing this warm white to not eliminate all of our green, because it would be very easy to have most of the green just kind of disappear at this point. Really affecting that green to form the foundation of color on the bronze. So I gotta be a little bit careful. As you can see around the waist armor, the amount of warm white that I blend in there is limited, because it will keep pushing your green back with every stroke.
This is for my personal army, which is why I'm planning on going a little bit more quickly for these guys.
Put it on the table.
I'm on the table.
Ooh, like it.
I approve. Oh, so
Oh, you're painting a mech at the moment? You use black, green, camo green, and yellow green for it, and you're loving it? Nice.
I've been continuing to watch season 3 of The Mandalorian,
Okay.
and I'm very much enjoying it.
Good. Good for you.
So, all those haters out there, screw you guys.
Well, I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Everyone is entitled to their opinion, whether they be wrong or not.
Turns out that whether a TV show is good or not is not a truism.
Well, last ship?
Huh?
The last ship? We'll talk about that one?
No, I mean, Mo liked it.
True.
Subjectivity is a biatch. Especially for nerds, man. We talk about it all the time. What you like, and you assume that nerd culture would go right along with you, and then you get backlash, right?
It's true.
You're like, wait a minute, I thought we were all nerds here. Can't
Hey,
just slap the nerd or sci-fi or fantasy tag on it and win the game.
How are you liking Malazan?
Oh, Malazan, that's right. Chat, for those of you who don't know, Baby J has got me reading Malazan, Book of the Fallen.
I'm rereading it with you.
And I'm enjoying it. I really like the idea of the world. I like the darkness and mood, I think is the right word.
Yeah.
That it's setting, and that the setting invokes. I have been very honest and vocal about the fact that I think that I found out this is his first book.
It is, yeah.
And it feels very freshman in its authoring. I'm on chapter 4 or whatever I'm on right now, and
What's
things are starting to come to light, but I still don't have a sense of there being a reason to hope anybody succeeds or fails in their quest or journey.
Has the battle happened at Pale yet?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're after that.
Yeah. It just is,
Has it swung back around to Perrin yet?
yeah, a couple times. They've gotten Tattersail in with the gang that's revolting or doesn't know what they're doing yet, I guess. I don't know.
Whiskey
Jack
squad
and Tattersail
Isis.
has said she'll join up with them and help them out, and it still doesn't have a single character that I feel like I'm supposed to care about. It hasn't done anything for this story to give me a background that makes sense. Not that doesn't make sense. They all make sense. They just don't have any reason to invest in them yet.
I think the most far along is probably Tattersail at this point. In that process.
Oh yeah. I would definitely say that they've done that. They've invested more time in Perrin and worse storytelling.
Not much has
He's
happened.
the only one that we have like a childhood flashback of. It's just very weird to me the way that you know, we're expected to know too much at this stage of the story. The author hasn't made anything evident.
I don't think you're expected to know anything.
Huh?
I don't think you're expected to know anything other than what you've been told.
Oh yeah, you are, because it's talking about, like, it hasn't even explained to you what the magic system is about. You're just supposed to glean that somehow they're opening portals to the god dimension and being able to manifest powers from god-given powers or something, I guess. That hasn't even really
That is
said
just
it.
how that works.
Huh?
It's just how it works.
They haven't told you that. So it has such a weight in the story right now about opening these warrens and all of this, but they haven't even described what the warrens are or what they do or why they do it. So, but they're leaning so hard onto them as a basis for some of the chaos and conflict of the story, but they haven't given them any definition. And I feel like that's really inferior writing. You don't need to spell it out, but you need to set up the foundation for why things exist and why I should feel like, oh, I understand why that could be oppressive, why the realm of shadow has never had a true warren exposed until now. They talk about that, they say those words, but it has no weight.
Yeah.
It has zero weight, and you feel like I want it to, because I'm like, ooh, the way everybody reacted in the book, that's supposed to have some weight. But as a reader, you're like, meh. Okay. I guess I'll read 4 more chapters and see if he tells me anything?
It doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it's just his initial foray into writing, and I'm having to deal with it. But like I said, it has not turned me off. It's just as I'm making my mental notes to be able to talk to you about it, it's what I'm finding.
Yep.
That is annoying.
Oh, I agree. I mean, like I said, I've read the first book 3 times.
A little rough.
And it does get better and better and better every time I read it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see, because you mentioned to me that it's like every time you go back and read it, you see things for what they are, but it's because you have prior knowledge now.
Yeah.
Because you finished the book. And then when you go back, you're like, oh, that makes sense now.
I mean, a lot of it is also just like stuff that's just like, oh, okay. I guess I didn't need to think so hard about this. This is just kind of the way that something is.
Well, that's not, well, I mean, I can't say it's not fair to think that way. To say you don't have to think so hard about storytelling, it's like, isn't that what storytelling is supposed to do, is provoke you to think about it? I mean, unless you're reading Dr. Seuss, and even that is something that is very thought-provoking. I just want to be invested. And the story makes me want to be invested because it has neat setting.
Yep.
Has neat stuff going on, so I'm excited to learn more.
Yeah.
I'm just...
The thing about the Warrens is largely all things that you know. Like you said, they're related to the deities in this universe world. It's a place you can go to.
Yeah, you can actually walk through them.
You can walk through them, yeah. They have power that you can draw upon.
You can see how subtle I'm having to work that form white in, right? Doesn't provide us with a huge difference, you know, over these as far as value, but it really does. It really does that final kind of punch of where I want my shine to go, and then I have to choose how much brighter I want to go from this point forward, you know? Like, it gives me my contrast from the other side, lets me set up my lighting pretty well, and then now it'll just be like spot highlighting things in there for that ultimate like gleam of light when we need it. Caustic, great books. You made the deck of dragons for your art major, great inspiration. So yeah, so I wish I knew more about that, right? Again, I think that they will be so much better when I'm done.
Oh yeah.
When I can go back and think to chapter 1 and what that really meant, knowing what I know at chapter 28 or whatever, I think that's the way this book is going to work.
Yeah.
And I think that's unfortunate, because if it is a good book, it will have lost over 50% of its potential audience by being written this way. That's why I really dislike this kind of writing that expects you to know more without there being a preface or anything for it, because it means that it won't be as enjoyed by people at large as it should be.
There is another caveat to this that is partially because we're listening to an audiobook instead of reading the book. In a lot of books there are, like in Dune, there's a bit in the back where you can flip to the back and you can look up a thing that they're talking about. It will tell you what it is.
That was not in the original Dune.
What?
That's been done since then.
Okay.
So no.
Okay.
I mean, like, some books may have a glossary like that that you can go back and find, but like Lord of the Rings didn't. None of that did.
Oh, okay.
Lord
of the Rings, you don't really need it.
They expound a little bit more as you go. Like I said, I just like a book to have its setting more concretely defined for me without handing it to you. Because again, I'm not the kind of person that wants a story laid out so that by the time you get to the end, you're like, of course that's how it ended.
Yeah.
You know? I don't want that. So I'm in that weird middle ground, you know?
It's too far in the direction of the thing that you like to the point where it's a little frustrating. Which, to be fair, it was for me as well.
Trekkies and Star Wars nerds, for example. Yeah, we shouldn't fight because we're fighting.
But that's the weird thing about this book series, is that even though it's written that way, it's still so interesting that I couldn't stop reading it.
Malazan is a long series. How many books has it had?
10, 12?
Oh, wow, yeah, so it is.
Yeah. I mean, the whole series doesn't really get started until book 4.
First book or two, says Shard, doesn't feel the same as the rest. I think it was written to be something other than a book. Like maybe he was writing it for Hollywood kind of thing.
It's a prequel.
Germ. So good. I like it. Yeah, but Hugh is saying it right. It just doesn't have me invested yet. I'm invested in the story to want to find out more, but none of the characters grab me yet. And as I read a bunch of reviews and went through and went on some websites where people were talking about it, the feeling is well known that it doesn't grab you until much later. That you don't feel like there's any reason to be reading it. None of these characters make a difference. Yeah, even Shard says it really won't until the second or third book. And that's fine as long as the world still keeps me engaged and makes me want to know more. That's okay.
Which it's doing so far, right?
He intentionally breaks a lot of fantasy norms. Well, there's fantasy norms and there's writing norms. And as much as I like to say in art there are no rules, right? There are when you want to convey a particular feeling, right? It's like I was in the music industry for a long time. If you decided you wanted to make an album that was just completely experimental, off the wall nonsense, that's great. Like, you can't really be faulted for that. But if your intention was to sell millions of copies of your record, you can be faulted because you knew that wasn't going to do it. And that's why I'm saying, like, this first book is one that's written maybe with some idea of an author going off on a different... I don't want to be like all those other books, but there are some formulaic processes you need to follow as an author that will make people invest in your book. It doesn't mean they have to be anything about the story. It doesn't mean it doesn't have anything to do with the particulars of your story. It has to do with the pacing and the synergy of your words, right? And how they're presented. And those are known facts, and so if you want to adhere to that, you'll get a better response immediately from people reading it. And that's where I really think it's a bummer, because I feel like, again, I'm very early in the book, so I can't make any broad sweeping comments yet. I am digging them.
The other thing I will say is be prepared for a shift in narrator.
A shift in narrator?
Yeah.
They changed the guy? Is it bad?
It's different.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I hate when they do that. Have you guys read The Black Company? Ampersand, I have it in my Audible library, and it was my next fantasy book to read before he convinced me to do this. Similar to Game of Thrones with a massive cast, changing POVs, and a ton of smaller stories coming together. Yeah, Shard, but Game of Thrones actually sets you up for why you needed to be concerned. It set up all of its constituent parts and their conflicts were very well fleshed out. It might have taken a while longer to flesh out each conflict because they were done episodic, wrong word, in those vignettes, book to book, that where the timeline wasn't really as cohesive, right? But you knew what the problem with the White Walkers was without having to read through the whole series. Yeah, no hand-holding is the way to say it. Cool Pack, what's going on, man? You just want to see my reaction starting book 2? Why? Is that where the narrator changes?
No. Narrator changes in book 4.
Well, yeah, in Avian, it's easier to do when it's visual. right? Visual storytelling is different than literary storytelling with words, right? Because when the visuals are all in my mind, you have to supply me with more to get me to go where you want me to go. As opposed to with visuals, you get me there quicker, right? Without all the exposition. And the map, yeah, the Lord of the Rings with all the maps was really bitching. I think my mom had the big copy of that when we were growing up. I wasn't allowed to touch it much, I don't think. 88 Real Little says, I always recommend the Codex of Alera series from Jim Butcher, brilliantly told in the use of ancient Roman culture as a reference overlay for the setting. Fantasy novel. By a rule, I don't know if it's a rule, hard fast rule I would say, but I typically don't navigate towards fantasy books in my reading. I find that a lot of times the world building can be really neat, but it can be very samey as other fantasy novels. So I find myself drifting into big, expansive sci-fi worlds.
Hey, somebody likes us.
But then some people might say the same of sci-fi, especially, some of the books that I read are very similar, right? Because, when there's no magic system, it's all about how do you get there fast? How do you get faster than light travel, right? So there is some sameness there, but I tend to enjoy sci-fi better. Taylor Swift songs are written by ChatGPT. You're probably not wrong. Paint liquor, yeah. No, like I said, don't get offended. I really do like it. I'm staying on it. I actually look forward to it. This last weekend, I wanted to find some time to sit and paint and to listen to the book so that I could do it with a longer invested time. The problem is the only model that I wanted to paint was the Death Knight, and I promised you guys I'd do it all on streams. So I didn't paint. Gladiator, thank you for the follow. All the books come from RPG GURPS games, the author and a friend or two. But that's what somebody said, is that it was from like his RPG, his GURPS RPG that they'd run for years and stuff. Which I think is cool. That's a great story for why to do, or why the thing got birthed. I think that's great. Sci-fi is just magic with more understandable instructions. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes. Here's the question. Finish The Expanse. Worthwhile to read the books now? You watch The Expanse?
Read
Is it
them.
worthwhile? Yes, read the books. By God, read the books.
The books are better.
The books are different, and in my opinion, better. You just tried ketchup Doritos. Ketchup chips are weird, man. They have a weird sweet flavoring the times that I've tried them. It's not what I expect from a chip, so I don't usually gravitate to them. Quad's like, you're always offended. Always offended. Old Dutch ketchup chips. Everything else is just wrong. Yeah, it's just not something I would have thought. And this comes from a guy that loves ketchup. Like, Jen makes fun of me all the time because I like ketchup on my chicken nuggets.
What's wrong with that?
She doesn't believe that that's what you're supposed to put on chicken nuggets.
You would be wrong.
It's like barbecue or nothing.
Oh, God, no. Barbecue's awful.
Jen's like, facts. He told you. I have tried to teach her for 8 years that ketchup was made. Chicken nuggets in mind. Not believe me. It's hard for me to wrap my head around ketchup being made for chips. I'm gonna throw it out there.
It's a Canadian.
American chips. British chips, I get it.
Well, I think the
'Cause
ketchup
that's
ones
French
are
fries.
Canadians.
Huh? Hey, don't die.
The ketchup chips, I think, are exclusively a Canadian thing.
Yeah, I think they are like more Canadian. Because I know a lot of my Canadian friends are the people that have brought them down for me to try, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Same with all dressed. Canadian thing.
All dressed is French fries. Yeah.
No, they have all dressed.
Oh,
like
all dressed
potato
chips. They have like all the flavors, right?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Wait.
I'm gonna have to die over there, right?
I'm doing all right.
I don't even know your parents. I don't really want to have my
Those
first
are-
conversation with them be, okay, so about your son.
You dead.
So things are going really well. Chat was really liking him.
He got a cold and died.
They came over here a few years ago, but it was short-lived. It's like we have a place here in town that does poutine, but they do it with green chili. And it's
Hatch
freaking
chili?
amazing. Green chili poutine. It's like a brewery. I don't remember what it is. Jen will know. It's over in Tempe.
Oh, wait a second. It's Tuesday, isn't it?
Cheesesteak?
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
That's exactly what I'm
It's
thinking.
2-for-1 cheesesteaks. Have you done that yet?
No.
Oh.
Which means I probably
Might
should.
today be your first 2-for-1 cheesesteak day?
I think so.
Uh-oh, look out. Orleans cheesesteak about to find a new loyal customer, Jen.
Hungry Baby J.
I exposed Baby J to the 2-for-1 cheesesteak Tuesday. Twitch Summerlin, what's going on? I certainly made Miniac stream really fun today. Scott and Evan do a great job of doing that anyway, but I was happy to be there. I had a blast. It is very rare that I get time in my busy schedule to join a stream for that long, and I really wanted to make sure that, you know, I went around today to see who was streaming. I set my mind to it this morning. I was like, you know what? During my lunch, I'm going to go around and check out who's streaming. And when I saw Scott's post on Facebook actually about how he was live painting that model, and so I joined up on the stream real quick, and always a good time. I have admitted to Scott before that his content now, it wasn't like this when he first started, but his content now is some of the only content that I can sit around and watch all the way through. Like when I sit down to watch his YouTube videos on a particular subject. Now, granted, the subject probably grabs me and makes me interested, right? But it's one of the few ones that I can sit and watch the whole way through. And the stream's not much different, right? I really have fun. Now, of course, the stream is driven as much by chat on channels that you like, as it is by the content in a lot of cases. And the painting community, by and large, has great members, great people to hang out with, and so I just had a lot of fun talking. Glad we could help do some giveaways. Get some new subs into the Miniac family. I love this model. Not gonna lie. It's rare that I have this kind of... I've been saying that a lot, haven't I? Am I just enjoying painting, Jordan?
You are.
Oh my God, I can't let that happen.
Why?
I cannot become that guy that just likes painting.
Wait, why not?
It has to suck half the time. Or else you're not believable.
No.
Who's gonna believe that you just enjoy a thing all the time? Nobody.
Have you met me?
Nobody.
Have you met me?
Nobody.
Of all the people
and when
that
you're
you
not
know-
trying to cough your death out, you're usually pretty positive.
Look. I'm I'm dying. A little bit inside. My undeath is going relatively well.
Your undeath is going well.
Okay? All things considered.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Lamb, the man with a positive attitude about death. He's very positive about dying. He's like, my undeath is going very well.
Can't complain too much.
Twitch Summerland, you said, I mentioned this in Scott's channel, but I went by your booth during Gen Con simply because you'd heard about the white paint and became an instant convert. Luckily, your FLGS stocks you. Oh, awesome! Fantastic. Glad you got to meet the gang last year. Jen and I were not there, but we will be there this year. Yep, 88 Rebels, we will be at Gen Con this year. Full team. We even have Mateo from Mindwork Games showing up with us in the booth. He'll be doing some painting. Be a lot of fun.
Oh, Mateo's painting?
Yeah.
Nice.
Jason, go paint 3,000 points of non-metallic metal Dark Angels. Get back into the suck. Oh, yeah. Then I'll go negative. Then I'll go negative.
Do we know who all is going to be there?
Jordan's a lich. Oh, no, we haven't done all that yet. We need to do that soon. Probably need to buy airplane tickets.
Yeah, bro.
Every time you cough, you're dying a little on the outside. Can we get a throne page? What's a throne page? Like a donation page?
Don't worry, Chad. I got like a bunch of cough drops.
I was gonna say, you probably need help in that arena. Liches don't cough. He still has lungs. He can't be a lich. He still has lungs. Trying to get rid of him though.
Hey. There's some liches that've got left, okay?
No, there's not.
They got a little bit of leatheriness going on.
No, there's not. I went to Liches R Us, and that is not true.
Oh, maybe Liches or us were out of that particular type of lich that day.
That brand was out.
Yeah.
We're out of stock of lunged liches. I'm liking that. You decided to take a year off from Gen Con and we decided to go. We were there last year. What are you talking about? Gen Con's not just like we get to decide to go. Gen Con has their whole vetting process, and for years they wouldn't let us in. And then last year they let us in. They found out we were a female-owned company and they let us in.
Somebody likes us.
God's honest truth. Don Mostert, what's going on? Thank you for the follow. Gosu, this is the warm white highlight, yes. It is. Of which I need more of, by the way. Oh, me and Jen specifically, yeah. Yeah, we couldn't go last year. But we will be there with bells on this year. Jen and Jordan and I will also be at Nova Open this year. We will not have a booth where we sell things, but we will be painting and having fun. Gotta be worth more than all the rest of that.
I think it'll be a fantastic weekend. Yeah, go to. It's just outside DC. Or I think it is actually like right next to DC.
In DC, yeah.
Yeah.
Washington Convention Center or something like that. George Washington Convention Center. I don't know.
Oh, because they moved the convention center. Yeah.
Yeah, it's at a new convention center. Much bigger. Eager. Yeah, you got to come down. Resin poisoning, what's going on? Is there a list of the colors you were using somewhere? For what I'm doing right now, it's very simple. It all started with dark purple as the shadow base for this. Zoom out a little bit. Okay. So dark purple, you can kind of get a feel of the purple in the deepest kind of shadowy areas. Then I blended dark yellow green from Vince's signature set into that. And the dark yellow green is that purple and dark yellow green mix is really what you're seeing the most of in the shadows. A little bit of the pure purple bounces out from time to time, right? But the whole model in the gold area has that purpley hue. Then we move to just yellow green, right? And then khaki. And I did mix a 50-50 of yellow green and khaki for this. Right, to do that initial highlight, then the khaki that we just finished up early, and then I'm using a warm white that is not a color we yet sell. It's in the next signature series that's coming out in a month or two. So it's not available, but it is like a yellowy ivory. So clip that real quick, and there you go. I am going to be changing the color of all the leather that I've done. We painted that first, and I have since decided with the evolution of the armor color that I'm no longer interested in reds and browns for the leather. I'll probably go with blacks with a little bit of a blue hue to them. You remember, yep, khaki. Bill Robertson took me forever to find the khaki that I really wanted to put into the sets. It was tough. It shouldn't have been as tough, but it was. It kept either being too green or too yellow or too much like ivory. I wanted all of those components, but it needed to stand on its own as a color or I wouldn't release it. So that's why it took so long. And now it's one of my most used colors.
It's amazing. I also use it quite a bit.
Yeah, khaki's great. Absolutely great. Such a good color.
What do you think?
I think it looks freaking great. For painted in 2 streams? Hey, winner!
Still got an hour and a half, too.
Winner! Yeah, it's not even done yet.
Yeah, got an hour and a half left.
Mo, what's going on, man? You're using khaki now? Oh, this is gonna be good. This is the stage I love when painting anything, but especially when doing non-metallic metal, when you're finally putting a bright color on there, like a real bright color on there. It's like every touch of the brush on the model is like, ooh.
Like unveils the armor.
Yeah. Yeah. Your material starts to materialize, dread I say. So did there?
Unfortunately.
You know what made you sick? Jen and I figured it out.
What's that?
Was my 230 joke. Because it was after I did the 230 joke that you were gone.
Don't make it again, please. I have not enjoyed the last week and a half.
Yeah, it was literally just the color, getting the pigments right. Because the first couple of times the color felt right, it had way too much pigment in it. Way too many different pigments in it. I didn't like that. And yeah, resin. It's kind of a, not really a sneak preview. We have a lot of the other paints that will be forthcoming. Our warm white. Got a dark emerald. Kind of a deep sea blue. Crimson you guys have seen, and that gives you the idea of how satin the colors, some of the colors are. That crimson is like a blood effect almost. A fantastic paint. Got what we call advanced flesh tone. Is kind of a less pink flesh tone, kind of a it's almost like a light warm brown more than anything. We have a what we're calling heavy white. It's our titanium white, but it's in a thicker consistency for loaded brush techniques, and it's also satin. We've got a dark burgundy coming out, which is awesome. A really cool color, granite. It's awesome. And then oil. It's like an oil effect, like for oil stains, and it's a brownish black, but it has a very unique consistency and is also satin. It literally is fantastic for oil stains. And then a light bone, but it is not like our ivories. It has much less yellow. It's almost like a bright red gray kind of a color. As opposed to our ivories that have much more yellow in them. Cork brown, kind of, but cork brown has a little bit more of that yellowishness to it, right? But yeah, kind of. It's still a little more red than that. But now you're thinking. It's a great skin tone for doing more Mediterranean style flesh tones right out of the bottle, because it's not as pink. Great highlight for darker flesh tones in general, I think. Mixing into like black brown, things like that will still give you enough reddish to make it a living thing. Gray clay. Yeah. Did you see the comment on Scott's that you should just run down the list of YouTube creators' favorite paint and just make signature sets? The signature series is something that we arrived at wanting to do because we really wanted to give back something to creators that do great content. And so it definitely fits. Unfortunately, you know, it's not something we can do with everybody, right? I don't think we envisioned it being the success that it was. We knew it was going to be fun and worthwhile, otherwise we wouldn't have done it. But now we're in a position where we're like, oh, we have more signature sets planned, but there's way more people that we would like to do signature sets with than we could possibly do signature sets. So we're having to navigate through, like, what do we do in that case? You know, because there's a lot of people I would love to do a signature set with. So we're thinking about doing like superhero team up sets, sort of, where we may get 2 or even 3 artists in on a box. So there's all sorts of fun stuff that we hope to pull out of our hats with it. Too thin. Too thin. Matt Seshwish. 10 comments. Allegedly. Technically, I'm not supposed to tell you that. You didn't hear that here. Fewer paints per person, Wad. Fewer paints per person. As you can imagine, it becomes more and more difficult to come up with colors that are unique to an individual the more individuals you have involved, right? Not that you're biased, but you feel like European painters have a lot of cooperation and recognition from hobby products there, and it's cool to see talented US painters get their names and faces on things. On the other hand, some of those European painters have some pretty fantastic personal palettes you've been trying to emulate. Yeah. Well, obviously, we started really wanting to tap into a lot of the American artists. You know, look at us. We feel like America has a lot to offer the hobby. We have not traditionally been viewed as such. Not that there's been negatives about being an American artist, but it's just not where the hobby generally originates from, right? It's an English and European type thing for scale modeling, has been since Berlinden and Vallejo, and for decades upon decades. It's just the way it has started. But it doesn't mean that we can't have a good representation, and I think John and Vince's sets really prove that. They've been proving it for years. They're just great artists. Scott, great artist, right? Tons of great artists in the U.S. Not a lot of collaborative companies in the U.S. to do stuff with. We really wanted to start out that way. You know, doing simple things like Sam and Uncle Adam's brush sets, you know, ways to give back to artists that are creating great content. Do our part. If we can make sure that they have a little extra income to keep producing great content, I'm there. I'm down. We started as a content provider. Don't ever forget it. Or a content creator, not provider. Makes me sound like we're Cox Internet or something.
God, no. Please, no. Don't let us stoop so low.
Yeah. And I know the struggles associated with it. That, number one, just trying to find content. What are you going to talk about today? Because if you don't talk about something today, you're going to lose views. Lose views, you lose income. No fun. Being stressed about that kind of stuff. So anything we can do as Monument Hobbies to kind of help that not be the case for great content creators, we're down. Here we are. Money where our mouth is, kind of thing. And the armor really does just come alive once you get this brightness on there.
Yep.
I'm really kind of just poking around without any rhyme or reason as to why or where. Everything about the armor is pretty interesting. I started with the least interesting spot down on the waist, just so I could get color in. I probably should have started up here where stuff was really interesting, because it almost lost me. I'm like, well... Over here on the shadow side, we want to make sure we don't punch too much brightness through, but we can get a little bit of gleam of reflection from God knows where. Who cares? Not trying to make it realistic, trying to make it interesting. Miss Verlinden Products, Mo, you remember. Some of the most amazing early resin additions for 35th scale military models ever. Like, as a lover of World War II armor, Verlinden just had amazing stuff, right? Like Hasegawa and some of the Japanese manufacturers had great, like, brass etched parts for airplanes and things like that, but nobody's really doing that stuff that allowed you to make this particular version of a tank that didn't exist in a model kit, because Tamiya didn't make it, right? 88 Riddles, take it easy, have fun. When are the new sets out, Aaron? We don't have a date of release yet. I'm hoping that I can, in the next week or so, have labels and all of that stuff approved. Every time we do a signature set, everything has to go through the artists for approval first. So we're hoping to have all that, and we have one color that's being kind of niggly as far as what we need to. It needs to be a little bit more blue, less green, and so we're working on that. I think if we can nail that this week, then we should be good for final approvals and starting to make the mixes.
So
No, man, I think it looks great. That Golden Earth.
it's
that
gonna
that almost just worked.
you know, it kind of does. I was just using it for the texture. I was gonna paint over it, but I kind of like it.
It kind of just works. I mean, I think a wash on it, and then a dry brush.
Yeah, a wash, a
works.
dry brush, maybe a little bit of like a green filter to it.
Yeah, it kind of just works.
Yeah.
Just make a green wash, a black green wash.
Yeah.
I know you can't give specifics about their pigment mixes specified by weight of pigments. How do you mean? We weigh them. What are you asking? Like when I go in and I do a mix of color, we have to talk about weight more so than volume, right? Like if I go make a new green, and let's say I'm just making it with blue and yellow, then I would talk about the volume of blue to yellow rather than the pigment, like, or I'm sorry, the weight rather than the volume. You know, when we're mixing here on the stream, it's like 2 drops to 2 drops. So that's volume mixing. That's what you and I typically do as artists. But when formulating for production, we do it by weight.
Because it's accurate.
Yep. Yeah, down to milligrams, not grams generally, but yeah, down to milligram weights. You can imagine. So we have to have highly dialed in scales. Which we just got a new one, as a matter of fact. It's still sitting in the box. And
New paint?
Hmm?
New paint?
New scale.
Yeah.
The one that I was so happy that I found the calibrating weight for like $6, when a calibration weight is generally like $100.
Oh, really?
80 to $100 for a milligram scale.
Holy crap.
But I found one that was $5. You know, it was like on Amazon.
Yeah.
And I was like, all the reviews are like, it's plus or minus. You know, depending on what you're weighing, this is plus or minus. You know, more than you're gonna like. It's the reason why it costs $5. And I was like, hey, it's $5. I'll roll the dice. And I got it. It is freaking like it's so. I mean, it is spot on because in my milligram scale, it's 000. right? It's no deviation at all. So within tolerances. Yeah, so it cost me $5. So I was happy that I saved myself 75 or $80 on a new calibration weight. I nerd out about the stupidest stuff.
Okay.
Honest to God.
Take this to you not nerding out at all, because that would suck. Chat, can you imagine if he
50
just
kilo
was on
calibration
stream?
weight. Holy crap, what kind of scales were they doing? Like shipping scales?
Gosu, how did I do the stone for the throne? Good question. What color did I use? I want to say it was I sprayed neutral gray, and then I washed it. No, I sprayed neutral gray, and then I sprayed a highlight of bright warm gray over it. And then I dry brushed, or I washed it, and then I dry brushed bright warm gray back over it. This is the stone that you see here. Yeah, of course.
He ran a fish farm, delivered live fish to the big supermarkets and restaurants around Houston. Oh, okay. Yeah, so he had big scales. Heck, did he have big hanging scales that needed that kind of a calibration weight? I think fish go in those big hanging scales, right?
I think it depends on the market.
Yeah, probably so. I guess you can stick it on anywhere you want, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys, you're not getting croak next.
Ha! Sick of painting frog? Slowly but surely getting there. It's so weird seeing the sheen. All of our paints being so matte. Can you tell how shiny that is? Satin paints dry up a lot faster. So. A Hutt or a Gungan from Star Wars prequels. the Slann mage priest. I always liked the frogs. I had always wanted snakes.
We have a lurker.
Is that a Jen?
Nope.
No. It's a Jacob. What's up, Jake?
Yeah.
What's that? Painting question. Jacob has a painting. You gotta come over here and ask it.
Is this for Jesus?
Yeah.
How did I know? Yeah, I think it was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You gotta come over here. You have to ask it live on stream.
Has he played yet?
What army is he playing? Oh, flying dwarves. Jacob's got a buddy who is traditionally a card player, but he's taken an
dabbling.
interest to all this craziness we do. Picked up Caradron Overlords, and now has a painting question. We're about to
You know Paul's also going to get dragged
answer
into it.
Jesus's.
Oh. If it's the last thing I do, it will be to get Paul to play a miniature game.
I mean, I'm sure he'll play one. We just recently hired another one of Jacob's friends, too. We're getting very nepotistic here at Monument Hobbies.
Hi, Jen.
Now it's a Jen. I'm painting this guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
The stairs.
Yeah.
He's on the stairs.
Come on.
Also has like some
There's plenty of room.
brazier.
Jacob. Welcome, Jacob. Hello.
Yakov the Russian spy.
There's an old video where it's reading test metal.
Yep.
You use.
Yeah. Not away.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have he's asking about the texture that we applied to
probably
like
could.
the
You'd have to
Necron.
get real crafty with it.
What's that?
You probably could. You'd have to use some like snow texture.
As I said, when we have
You
our
know
new
what? I bet you
textures.
could do it
and
with
you
snow
mix it
texture.
with some like transparents.
Well, I bet you could do it with snow. You don't care about the color at that point because what
just
you're
paint
doing
over
is
it.
using it strictly. I used to use other weathering effects from Vallejo AK as a way to get texture on your model. You could take the snow effect, which is a ultra fine grit, and thin it with water, right? So because it's just a paint. So if you take the snow and you use a wet brush and you put it on your palette and you thin it out and then paint it on, you can layer it up and get the same thing. That would actually work perfectly.
Yeah.
You just need to make sure you thin it. And then spot touch it in areas to get more and less texture around. But that's what I had to do with it. You just can't spray that stuff through an
And then you
airbrush or
paint
anything
over
like
it. And you can stipple and you can wash it.
Yep.
And it'll have that grit texture.
that. Yeah, that probably worked perfectly.
It might even work better because then you can make the color exactly what you
Yeah, I think that's great. Ta-da!
I actually want to do a tutorial video for
Ta-da! Winning answers
I'm gonna-
Tutorial?
from
I'm
Team
gonna-
Monument.
this. Yeah, I want to do a tutorial video for that.
All right, Jacob, take it easy, man.
I'm leaving too.
You're leaving too. You going someplace with Jacob?
Oh!
She said maybe.
Snap!
Maybe I'm gonna go play.
You gonna go play Digimans? You
Wrong.
decided you want to learn? He could teach you. He's a good teacher. You'd start whooping all our asses at Digimans.
Hey, whipped me into shape pretty quick.
Right.
Got an email from that.
Mm-hmm.
He wants, Oh, the person.
To the meeting we have at 10. Oh, yeah, for stream.
I'll
I
tell
mean,
them.
depends on how much time they want.
I mean, I can also do stream.
We start stream.
Jeremy.
We can do that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. See ya.
See ya.
Huzzah, huzzah. I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
Bakamaru says, just saying, both of these look amazing. Why, thank you.
Thank you. My 2-day Slann.
My 80 million day medal on my Death Knight.
That's not so bad. Yours takes a lot more time. Slann's easy. Resin poisoning, I am doing the same thing, but I obviously am starting with Seraphon.
No idea where to start.
You just
Baka,
gotta
thank you.
pick a thing you like and go.
That's really what it is, right? I think I have almost all the armies except for Skaven, Caradron, Seraphon, Fire Slayers. Might have all the rest of them. Oh, I don't have Chaos, technically. I do, but it's all very old. I have Chaos humans from back when they came out with the first plastics when I was working at GW. This shoulder being high on the model, right in the path of light, is going to be the brightest thing on the model, most likely, other than a little bit of the helmet. Because of the way his head's turned, the helmet will be maybe even less so. Overall brightness. But I'm not ready to commit to just painting it all top to bottom with the bright color here. I still want to leave a little bit of contrast, and then wait and see what happens as we go to the next brightest color, which I'll probably do like bright ivory or possibly even a little bit of white after this. Cripshot said, make sure his toad butt is HD. HD?
All right.
There you go. That's how you do that.
You got
chat.
an HD toad butt.
That's how you do that, chat. Dude, I don't know if we could be any more ask and receive than that. We are way too accommodating, chat.
Wanted the butt. I am here to oblige.
Somebody clip that.
I'll even say it again. Let me know when you're ready.
Hey, Cripshot, we love you for it. HD stands for hop. Damn. Wait, hop. I see what you see. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. What an Easter egg. There you go.
Now, chat. Only you will know.
This guy's armor feels like going to the antique store and looking at that shelf that has all of the old like grandma cups and spoons on it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting the feel of right now, especially as we go across the chest. It's like a shelf of old
Knickknacks.
metal knickknacks from the antique store.
All right, Toadbutt's getting glued in.
HD Toadbutt glued to chair. You don't get this kind of entertainment just everywhere, chat. I want you to take note of that. He got the clip. HD Toadbutt.
All right, now next time y'all say I don't do anything for you, you can shut the
I don't think
darn it
anybody's
up.
ever said that. Like, ever in the history of ever.
Good.
I don't think anybody's ever said that. Those words have not exited anyone in this chat's mouth.
All right.
T. Schmidt putting Royal Purple to work today for the first time. We were filling Royal Purple yesterday, I think it was, when I walked out into the production area just to say hi to the gang and talk to them for a bit. And it just grabs you. It's one of those colors. Every now and then you go out into production and you look around and you're like, oh my God, that color is so gorgeous. And like Royal Purple is one of those colors. Like, yep, that color's great. Sitting in the bottle with no label on it. One of the best looking colors. You did Death Knight's cloak is mostly royal purple. Yeah, I'm thinking purple could be really good for this, although we're painting that purple marine, and I'm kind of tired of that much purple on a model. I'm trying to get a feel. I was thinking about it all last night, like what I wanted to do for this model's other colors, the leather and things, and Black comes to mind, but I don't know if black's going to wind up being a little too dull. I have to play around with it a bit. No, I don't want the brown and red that I've started here. Luckily, it's not that big of an area on the model that I have to care too much. This is going to be a good visual explanation of how we have our light source coming from over here, right? And so it can get to the front of this area a little bit, not super bright, but a little bit. I put a little bit of brightness there, and we've got this little bit of reflection on the armor here where we really need to get in. Oh, we didn't put any khaki there, I don't think. To say that probably really wants to be more of a khaki, but I'm going to go ahead and cheat it in here with a very light amount of the warm white. And we're moving our reflective area to where it is more towards this arm as opposed to our light source, because the light isn't causing the reflection. The armor next to it, that arm piece, is causing the reflection. So this that we're seeing on the chest plate here is actually the reflection from all of this here, rather than from our light source. You'll dim it down a little bit because it's reflected light. The light's hitting the armor, then reflecting back into this piece without a whole lot of light on it. So it'll dim it down a little bit, but still be pretty bright. Don't want it exactly as bright as the edges it's reflecting. Paint Liquor says, have you considered a plaid cape? I will kill you. A plaid cape in hot pink and jade. I know where both of you people live. I know where you live. It's hard to threaten chat with, like, don't make me come over there. I think that's probably what they're wanting. Because then they'll be like, oh yeah, you look really good tied up in my basement teaching me how to paint. It's free training. Keep pissing him off. Maybe he'll come tell us to stop it. That's when we hit him with a small piece of furniture. He wakes up, we give him the bad news. I know you enjoyed running Monument Hobbies, but now you run basement hobby tutorials. You got a shed. Does that actually work? Hey, wait a minute. Leave hot pink out of this. You don't get a say here, Mr. Emperor's children. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Aaron, also known as Mr. Emperor's Children, Mr. I paint pink more than is healthy. AC Miniatures Aaron. Click his name, give him a follow. Fantastic painter. Weird accent. Can't tell where he's from.
You run that place with big monsters?
I don't remember. The next serious project you do has no pink in it, I swear. Golden Demon winning? He is. Netted himself a silver, I think, this last year, right?
Yep.
Freaking awesome. Crip Shadow says, I believe that accent is that of the peasant class in this place called Britannia. Hey, AC, do you know this Crip Shadow? Do you know where they live?
I believe it takes one to know one.
I have a shovel and a piece of carpet. Much too large for Aaron to handle. Have you seen Aaron in person? He's huge. He's huge. Unbelievably huge guy. Definitely on the juice, that one.
Putting him on blast like that?
There's no way a normal human being can be that muscular. Aaron's probably rolling right now. His persona on stream is totally different. That's a lot of makeup and time in the chair to get ready. The prosthetics that size him down because he doesn't want to be like overly intimidating, much to his credit. He wants to be relatable. It's hard to be relatable when you're like freaking Sasquatch on roids size. I was surprised when I saw him. Can confirm, sculpted from a solid block of granite. Godlike physique. He doesn't need props. It's all about perspective. And it's easy to do that when you live in a castle. All that headroom. It's just mirrors. Where the whole term smoke and mirrors comes from. It's just mirrors. have a godlike physique. Granted, it's Buddha, but hey. Right?
Feeling really good about this. Feeling real good.
Go die on someone else's channel. Because he's coughing. Baby J, you know we love you. But you can't die here.
Coughing does not equal dying.
Oh. You mean you're gonna get better?
Fucking hell. Excuse me, sorry. That was very...
No, you've been putting up with the nonsense for a week now, so I think you're entitled to
an expletive
a
or
little
two.
bit of an expletive for get this toxic crap out of my system. Although it is a bit of a I told you so, Mr. Chaos Lover. Just saying.
Oh, don't even start with the...
I'm saying. I'm saying.
Hey, somebody likes
Say so.
us.
Thank you for the follow. Ago says, I hate to tell you, but... Aaron says the problem isn't chaos. Spoken like a true heretic. I'm on to you, boy. I know you and your demons and noise marines and...
I knew I liked you.
Slanesh
man.
never gave anybody a cold. Say so. Is it currently calling for model sketch submissions? Say what? When Baby J doesn't want to talk about is he was actually turned into a newt. He was out of the office for as long as he was, but he got better. Slanesh gives STDs. Well, that's refreshing to know. The Chaos Gods all work together. It's just a joint effort.
No wonder they like each other so much.
Can you taste your food? Or is it that annoying sick where you can't taste your food?
No, I can taste stuff.
Say, because a cheesesteak ain't nearly as good.
God, I want to get that, but I really don't want to like drive all the way over there.
When your taster doesn't work. It delivered.
I don't know if I can get the discount.
Oh, you can't. It's only for walk-in and takeout. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Slanesh will probably just get you hooked on painting pink in excess. I will give Aaron lots of credit for pulling off pink as well as he does in league with that black that he works up on his Slaneshi stuff. That combo works really, really well. If you're ever painting pink, pink and black works exceptionally well. Does a good job at taking some of the edge off of pink. Pink is a hard color to commit to, much like yellow, other very bright, vibrant colors when painting armies, because they get samey and redundant super fast. One squad of Imperial Fists is cool. 2 squads is pushing it. Being new to painting, the hot pink yellow trick you saw Goobertown do is amazing. Yeah, pink into yellow gives you a really good subtle orange. And so that's really what you're trying to do. So around here you'll hear us talk about, you know, the ability to just take orange and go straight away into orange to get your yellows. Really nice. Because doing the pink way until you are very comfortable as a painter can leave you with some weird pink artifacts as well in the shadows that sometimes can be a little hard to deal with after the fact. But you can also do red, base red, and then once the red is done, do a zenithal of white over the red. That'll give you kind of red into pink into white, and then over the white do your yellow. That works really well. And then if you're left with the red in some of the shadow areas after doing your yellow, it fits better. It'll make more sense visually than will pink. definitely something to give a try. It does make yellow a lot easier to get to a finish line that feels comfortable, as opposed to just,
Sideshow 6. Hey Jordan, Digimon friends missed you. Well, I missed all of my Digimon friends. I don't know who this is though. Who be lurking? Who is this? I've been jonesing for some Digimon. I haven't played not. Card game, Crypt Shadow.
the cardboard crack.
True.
This is plastic crack. There is also, fortunately, cardboard crack. It's also worse in its own way. Booker, any fancy tricks to paint a wooden staff? Base coat brown? Yeah, I mean, you can. How fancy do you want to get? I really like painting staves, magic staves and things, in flesh tones, believe it or not. I'll show you an example of what I mean here in just a second. Let me get more of this on here. So starting wood with flesh tones is an interesting way to do that particular
Start with the dark.
technique. I paint it like I would just Caucasian flesh, believe it or not. Right? So if I zoom out, you can see like on this tree here, gives it with the flesh, and then I do a wash of dark camo green. And then a dry brush with like a light olive flesh or ivory or something like that on this one that had a little bit more texture on it. So it gives me more of a dried wood. We tend to paint wood, just straight up brown. There's nothing wrong with that, but we use brown for so many other materials in our models that sometimes being able to go in and take, some other coloring and bend it to your will works really well. Same thing here. This is done exactly the same way, just painted with dark flesh, shadow flesh, tan flesh, dark green, dark camo green, glaze or wash, if you will, over the top of that. And then highlight it with like ivory or olive flesh or something. And it can work really, really well. And give you an interesting wood that isn't just, dark browns. But completely up to you, depending on how fancy you want to go. Then there's just wood, which is brown. You can do like a warm brown or just a light umber, dark umber kind of a thing. Yeah, a lot of time bark and stuff has a lot of gray in it, and so I really like the flesh tones and the warm grays and colors like that. Crip Shadow says they almost had you with a One Piece card game. Yeah, some of the guys here play One Piece.
I do not. Too many other games.
No problem, Fooker. The name you don't want to say too fast.
You said
I'm
it
gonna
pretty
offend
fast.
people.
You said it pretty fast.
Crip Shadow says favorite Digimon from the cartoons. I don't know anything about it. I play the game, but I have no idea what's going on in the world. Use flesh tones and darker flesh tones for polished copper. Yep. Flesh tones work really well. They have enough of that red in a lot of cases.
Agusaku, both myself and Jason are long-term Magic the Gathering players. We have both played quite a bit.
This is my major vice for years and years. Always a big fan.
Till now.
I played all the way up until whatever the set was right after Mirrored and Block.
Kamigawa.
Kamigawa.
That is sort of when I started.
Kind of over. Playing a lot of MTGO at the time. I'd moved to California. I went out to a couple of release tournaments out in California. I didn't like scene out there as much as I did in Pennsylvania.
A big community out there. Can't speak to the quality of the community. No, they out there.
What, California?
Yeah.
Oh, the events were huge. So that was nice. Being able to know that you were going to get a lot of really good games, a lot of competitive players. That was really nice. No problem with that. As I got seeded into California and was trying to find people to hang out and play with, it was just not easy. So I wasn't having a good time with all that.
It's especially hard for somebody like you who just basically did draft.
Yeah, limited was my play style, right?
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't like constructed, but it wasn't where I wanted to be. And it was easy to get games. There were drafts happening all the time. That wasn't really the problem. It was just I didn't have a group that I could sit and test with.
Yep. That's the biggest part. So I was so happy to find all the people down here
Oh yeah.
for Digimon. It's what made me play. Like, huge community of really nice people.
Yeah, that's the thing. Samurai Comics here locally has got just a really good group of people who play.
And they play well. Like, they're good players for the most part.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't feel
Except
like
for that Jacob guy.
That guy sucks. he no very good.
Crip Shadow says, wait, what happened in California? Well, I had moved to California. This was about 2004. And so this is when I was, deep in the throes. I'd been playing Magic for, good God, 6 years straight, 7 years straight by that time. And was a huge part of my nerddom. And when I got out to California, it was just very difficult to find people that I enjoyed hanging out with. I had a really good test group in Pennsylvania, people that we played with and had fun playing with. One of them moved out to California with me, but he didn't last very long. I got him a job at GW as a red shirt. That's when I was working at Games Workshop. He just didn't last very long. Yeah. Yeah, but job as a red shirt, he's the first one to die. Yeah, you're not lying. That's a rough life being a red shirt for GW. He worked at the bunker, though, because my office was at the LA bunker. It's called LA. It wasn't LA, it was Orange County, but. You've fallen for Commander. We got, I think that's what Ruben plays the most. Commander.
I'm big my hero kick right now.
Yeah, internally, Crypt Shadow was just called the LA bunker. Because it was the West Coast region. Even though it wasn't LA. Down off of, I never can remember that town. Right down off of the 405 and oh. T-Schmidt, take it easy.
See you, T-Schmidt.
Valandar says, so how thin should I make Pro Acryl titanium white to fit through an airbrush at 45 psi with a 4mm nozzle? I mean, you don't technically have to thin it. Depends on what you're trying to do, right? For zenithal?
40's pretty high.
I mean, maybe 50-50. We don't spray that high, right? So we spray it around 22 to 25 tops. I've never seen a need to have more pressure than that to put something as low viscosity as acrylic paint through an airbrush, but whatever gets you there is fine. But you are pushing a lot of paint really quickly, which for acrylics can tend to cause speckling due to drying out. So just be aware of that and be careful as you're doing it. But yeah, I like to start at around 50-50. For thinning.
All right, you want to take a look at something?
What do you want me to look at?
So, on his palanquin, the thing with the little worms.
Oh, good. So this isn't one of those
It's
things
an-
where you bend over and ask me if it looks irritated?
I'm just trying to figure out what the hell that is.
Where am I looking?
So,
On the palanquin?
the little bowls.
Okay.
So, behind the bowls, there's a thing that's got the little centipedes in it.
Behind the bowls, there's a thing that
Yeah.
has... Oh, yeah.
What on earth is that? It looks like a conquistador helmet. That doesn't make any sense. For a lot of different... Well, I mean,
it does have, like... It's got symmetrical kind of wings to it. I don't know. Yeah, I would paint it metallic, maybe. Like with, like, dark bronze or something. That's a weird one, man.
super bizarre.
I have no idea what that is.
Because it could just be like a shell.
Yeah, it could be like a. It's the way it's broken makes it look like a skull. The way they have the jagged break in it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a skull, is it? Or a bone of some sort. It's not a pelvis or anything. That's very weird. I would look at the box art and see what it looks like.
Ooh, that's good.
That would be me cheating and looking at the box art on that thing, because I'm with you. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is. Yeah.
I don't have an idea what that is. Yeah, exactly, paint liquor.
I like it, though. On the whole, I like it, chat.
You should be able to shoot rocks through your airbrush at 45 psi. Well, I mean, like, you know, Aaron from Miniature Monthly, he runs paint through his airbrush at, you know, 50 psi. So it's definitely doable. When you run lower viscosities, you thin a lot, then it matters less and less, right? But that is a lot of air and will determine or be kind of determined by your environment, how dry it is. We couldn't do 50 psi here in the desert. The paint would dry as soon as you pulled the trigger, I think. You'd get tip cure and all that going almost instantaneously, so you'd have to be very, very careful. Level of air pressure. But if you're in a more humid environment, then you can probably get away with it. But regardless, I think that, you know, starting to thin about 50-50 with the titanium white will work for you. See how that runs through the brush and how it does for you as far as building up opacity quickly for your zenithal. I told myself I wasn't going to paint very much on the helmet because we haven't done the skin underneath the helmet, and I'm probably going to mess all this up. But I'm having fun, so I'm doing it anyway.
Do it anyways.
Let's make bad decisions together, chat. Paint the helmet before you paint the face underneath the helmet. That'll turn out great.
Here's the other really important question. What do I paint next?
Out of your army?
Yeah.
Broke.
God, no. I mean, yes, but no.
The dudes riding the mounts?
The Raptidon dudes.
I don't know what the
Really?
things, but yeah.
I could build 10 more of them tonight.
Oh, you haven't built any?
No, I have 10 of them built. Or I have 5 built, so I'd have to build. Because if I'm going to do them, I'm going to do them all at one time.
Oh, gotcha. Wasn't tracking it first.
Yeah, I'll do that. That sounds like fun.
Follow your heart. That's a very kumbaya drum circle way of doing it right there. Follow your heart. Will always lead you to the truth.
Well,
Unless dealing with drugs or women, at which point it'll usually make very bad decisions for you and lead you to untimely demise. Sounds like there's a story attached. No. Fortunately, I have skirted. Well, I mean, I think we've all had relationship issues, regardless of any of that nonsense. But I've never had drug issues. I love when people say that. As soon as I say that, I've never had drug issues. It sounds like the I don't have a drug problem. Drugs and I get along just fine. I've never done drugs. There you go. Paint Liquor says paint all the skinks. Do you have skinks in your army? Like 50 million of them?
Well, this is a little bit contentious. Because all of the beasts are also technically.
Do you have any skinks as we would think of skinks in your army? Okay. Like little blowgun skinks and stuff? Well, you know you huff glue fuse? Well, hey, glue's not a drug. Glue's an adhesive. Says so right on the packaging. Punisher says, I've also never done drugs today. He throws it in there today. Have you ever thought that there is only a saying for happy life, happy wife, and not the other way around? Happy wife, happy life? Wait, I don't understand. I thought it was happy wife, happy life. Right?
That is. Yep. That is it. That's the one.
As someone who knows animals, it kills you that people call them skinks. I mean, people just call them what GW calls them. Oh, no, happy. Oh, I see what you're saying. The other way around, like happy husband, happy life. Yeah, it's always I always say if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Nobody cares about dad.
True.
Nobody cares about dad.
This is true.
Happy spouse, happy house. I like that one. A little bit more ambiguous, fits everybody. Jen and I, it has to be happy partner. Like literally nothing rhymes with partner. I want to say fart something because that's the only thing.
It's funny you said that
You grinned as soon as I said it.
because that literally just popped into my head right before you said it.
Happy partner, something fart. Happy partner, yeah. Happy partner, something fart. It has to have fart in it, or else it's not gonna work. Oh, I love it. Well, I'm not gonna want to paint a model with super tiny details after this.
Probably a good call.
What's that?
Probably a good call.
If you're farting, your wife is not happy. She's threatened divorce off of your gas. Oh boy. Jen's always trying to blame hers on the dog.
It's the worst. She's not even here to defend herself.
Neither is the dog. Usually the dog's not around to defend herself. Booker asked, do you prefer to paint a unit of models one at a time or an assembly line style?
Assembly line.
Yeah, if you can, assembly line works great, especially if you're really army painting. You know, if you're, and I say army painting, like, you know, get done quick style army painting. Obviously, there are a lot of ways to paint an army, right? And that's just going to come down to what your ultimate goal is, I think. You know, when we did the, like, 2,000 points of Lumineth in a week challenge here on the stream, that was just get it done.
Yep.
And that was assembly line. That was like the whole army is going to be the same color. There's not going to be a lot of variation going on here. You know, it'll look good, swear to God, but it means we're painting all of this at the same time.
Yep.
Even techless. Like we did, I think we painted most of techless at the same time we painted everything else. I was like, I don't care. $150 model gets painted with the rest of them.
One of the things to think about too is that
Hey, somebody likes us.
the thing to think about
Johnny Kaput, thank you for the follow.
is that you know, you spend
Jen
enough.
says you know it's always the dog.
Yeah.
There she goes again.
No, I refuse, Agu.
Trying to rope you into.
Dying on somebody else's.
Oh, you're dying here?
Yep.
You've picked it? Staked your claim? If I'm dying on Twitch, I'm dying right here in the comfort of the Monument Studios.
Then y'all can do about it.
The legs, I went a little too bright with the medium green on, so I have to darken those up a bit. Anything else I'm very happy with. Here on the top. Egg shape favoring the rear port.
Mix up grass wash, ground wash. Probably gonna hop.
Yeah, I'm gonna be done. Be a good quitting time.
Yep. I think so.
Everybody has enjoyed hanging out with us today. Thanks again to everybody that might have found us for the first time or first time in a long time by coming in on one of the raids. Great having everybody hang out with us.
Hey, you concur.
Always one of the bright spots in our day to get to hang out with you guys and gals. I'm sure amazing joy of watching me touch this model 50 million times with little bitty dots of bright color. All baby J over there actually gets stuff done.
Yep. Sounds pretty normal to me. Except for the whole dying part.
Yeah, try not to die. Try not to die.
Alright. That's it. Aside from a little bit of basing stuff, always done. That is that, chat.
Not too shabby.
2-day Slann. About 5.5, 6 hours worth of Slann.
This is about 16 hours of painting. I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't know. I've been keeping track. I don't know how long we've been painting him, but it's a lot of hours in metal, so. There we go. Getting closer, though. Getting closer. Can you have his spot when he kicks the bucket, Tim? You have to fight Jen for it. Jen's a nasty fighter.
She's a scrapper.
That Western show picked the tree out and everything. What? All right, gang, we're done. Thanks for hanging out. Again, please hit that follow button if you've been here for the first time and you have not done it already. We stream 5 days a week, believe it or not.
Monday,
5
Wednesday, and
chances to hang out with our nonsense. How can you pass that offer up? Monday, Wednesday, Friday. When?
12 to 2.
12 to 2. All times Pacific. Tuesdays and Thursdays, like today, we start at that 2 p.m. slot and go till 5 p.m. or 5:15, which is not the best time in the world to go see the dentist.
Swear to God, if you say tooth.
What time's the best time to go to the dentist? So we'd love to see you back here. Remember tomorrow. What is tomorrow anyway? Wednesday will be here at noon for the hobby lunch. Make sure to check out all the links that Jen just threw up in the chat. The Discord will get you over with thousands of amazing artists just like yourself. Come hang out with us, ask questions, find out about our products. It's the place to be to find out about the first new releases and restocks of big stuff like brushes. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. And then the store and the FLGS links will get you over to monumenthobbies.com where you can shop for all of the wonderful paints you see us using live on the channel. As well as find a store local to you that carries our stuff. So support your local game store. They do the best for you. Go and do it so for them. Love seeing you. Stick around. We're going to find somebody to raid so you can have some more hobby goodness as you go off into your evening. And we will catch you back here on the flip side. See you tomorrow. Adios, gang.